so I make minimum wage, and I have a degree, and I kind of feel like if I have a degree, why am I working so hard for $8.50 an hour when like I have a degree already? I already have an associate's. It's like I'm just going back to get my bachelor's. So it's I kind of feel like I'm intimidated by the job just because it like doesn't pay me enough.
You're intimidated by the job. Kind of like when you say you're intimidated by the job. Could you explain that a little bit more about that?
Like the job is intimidating because I feel like I should be getting paid more money for what I do, but at the same time I'm kind of like, this is what people do when they are just starting out. Like this is an entry level position, and it's what I applied for, so I just need to kind of take it with a grain of salt and do it. It's a lot of work for me, and it's causing stress because I'm working, like I said, doubles. So I'm working 16-hour days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and plus I have another job. Plus I'm going to school, so it's just like, why am I working for $8.50 an hour when I have an education and I'm going to get a better education? I just feel like you should get paid more. I feel like minimum wage should go up.
I think I'm hearing you say that in terms of my financial goals, that I should be a little bit further down the line. Is that kind of like what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm.
And because you're not further down the line, you have a degree, you're not further down the line making the kind of money like me, that's producing some sort of stress in your life.
Right. Yeah. I've always regretted not going to get my bachelor's degree after I got my associates. It just wasn't it wasn't timing right. And then now that I'm here, I'm kind of frustrated because I'm working all these hours and I'm not making a lot of money. And I feel like if I would have just went and got my bachelor's degree, like I'd already have my master's by now, and I wouldn't be sitting here stressed out about money, and I wouldn't be living with my dad. And I mean, I have to kind of lay in the bed that I made, but it's just really frustrating.
So maybe I'm hearing you say that the reminiscing of all the things that you should have versus what things actually are that's kind of producing, I guess, the stress, so to speak. I should be here. I'm not here. This is where I am. I'm frustrated because I want to be further down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not further down the line.
Yeah, I have a lot of regrets about the choices that I made, and I made them all over like because I thought I was in love. So like I chose somebody else over my career and like my education, and now I'm like regretting it, and it makes me mad and it makes me angry because I know where I should be and I'm not there yet.
As I continue to hear what you say, I'm gathering that you're doing a lot of reminiscing over your life, and the reminiscing over what it used to be like, the advantages that you did have, the mistakes that you may have made, the choices that you may have made that may have been good, and where you are today. And I know that if you continue to go back over the things that didn't work out in your life and where you should be, it's kind of like not working together for you, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we gotta begin to think about what you want to do to reduce the stress. I know it's not, well, you're not going to be able to change certain things fast, right? You need to work.
Mm-hmm. I have to work. I'm paying actually out of pocket this semester, last semester, and spring semester. So when I see the money coming out of my pocket, it's even more stressful because I'm in debt, and then you go to sign up classes, and I owe $2,600, and I just paid off this semester, thank God. And next semester is $1,300 just for one class, and it just drives me crazy to know that I have to pay out of pocket because I did take a long time. That's another reason I took a long time getting to where I wanted to be, and now that I'm here, it's like I'm running out of money, and so I only have a certain amount of money for next year, so I had to pay out of pocket this year, which wasn't in my budget, and I didn't really, think about that when I did everything that I did last year. So, like I just leased a car last year because my car broke down and it kept causing me problems. So I thought that, if I lease a car, it'll cause me less problems, and in the long run, it'll be like I can own it in 3 years when I'm done with school. But now I'm thinking like maybe I shouldn't lease a car. Like I regret a lot of things in my life because I make these decisions like really quickly, and I feel like I need to kind of take those decisions back.
Mm-hmm. So taking decisions back and you having some regrets about the decisions that you made. So maybe there's some frustration. I think I'm hearing a little bit of frustration in there.
Mm-hmm.
in all of these, I guess we can say life problems, and just like mounting up, and it's like you're not seeing any light at this time, or any getting any relief at this time. So like it's just one thing after another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of all goes back to my mom. Like my mom was never like my mom only got her GED, and so I kind of always wanted to go to college because of that. Because I knew that like she didn't get her GED, and like she just was never a good provider, and like so I always told myself that I didn't want to be like her. And I kind of feel like I'm like falling into like what she did, even though I have an education, like I'm not getting it in a timely manner. And so it makes me think of like, oh no, like what if I don't finish? Like will I end up like my mom and you know not being able to survive because she lives paycheck to paycheck and she struggles. I mean, she calls me asking me for money, and I'm like, I can't afford my bills. How am I gonna afford your bills?
So when you look at your life and you look back the way your mother's life was, and as you strive to not fall into the steps your mother fell into. I mean, and if maybe if it's kind of like seems like that's what's happening because it's slow or it's moving, not progressing as fast as you like to. You worry about and end up like my mom ended up, and that in itself may be producing some of the stress you're feeling too.
Yeah, because it's always a fear. And like my brother, my dad was married before my mom and had a son, and so my brother is always like, don't end up like your mom, don't end up like your mom, because he knew that she had like all these problems, and a lot of her problems was after my mom and dad divorced. Like she turned to alcohol as like her coping mechanism, and then she had an alcohol, like she was an alcoholic, and she never realized it. And there's so days like that she just doesn't think like what she's doing is alcoholism because she only does it on the weekends. Or
now you mentioned fear, so I'm hearing something about this fear that you have, and sensing that the fear of being like your mother is creating a lot of the stress that you might be experiencing. Probably more so than many of the other things, maybe being an alcoholic, maybe if I don't succeed, will I wind up like my mother? Will I wind up using alcohol, being an alcoholic? Will I just wind up being not a good provider? Or will my life just be wasted away? Is that kind of like what I'm...
Yeah, I guess I just have a lot of fear and anxiety that I wound up like my mom, because my mom is like the complete opposite of what I've always strived to be. And like my mom and my dad are complete opposites. My dad worked hard, he worked 2 jobs, like he went to college, like it took him 10 years to get through college, but he did it. And that's why I know that I can do it, because even if it takes me 10 years, like my dad did it and he only took 2 classes at a time. I mean, and he went through a lot, and so I just know that like I can do it. It just I have those fears and anxiety because I do have another parent that is half of me, and I'm thinking like, what if I get some of her bad qualities, and then what happens?
So if you because your mother, you may have inherited some of those bad qualities,
Mm-hmm.
and you definitely don't want those bad qualities to be displayed. And you kind of have some anxiety about that there.
Right, I have major anxiety about it, and I don't think anybody really understands it. Like my friends don't understand it, and my family doesn't understand it. My dad just always tells me to take it one day at a time, and that I don't live with her, so I don't have to worry about it, and that I live with him, and he's gonna be there for me, and it's gonna be okay. But it's just still it's hard when I've seen what she's gone through, and I lived what I lived it. Like I was her daughter, so like I've lived every like bad moment in our lives, like that she caused. I was there living it.
So, and if correct me if I'm wrong with this. So there are some advantages other than just financially being at home. Your dad is kind of a comforter for when you might feel anxiety or feel tension. Your father's one who encourages. Is he the only one who encourages you? Are there others in your life who encourage you? You can do it. Keep striving for it. It may take you a little time, but you can eventually do it.
I mean, yes and no. My family is very distant. I've always kind of been like the black sheep of my family. So like on my dad's side, we don't really talk around unless it's like Christmas. So that's like the only time we talk to them. And I mean, we're all connected on Facebook, but I mean, no one actually comes out and says like, "Hey, Carissa, how are you doing?" We just kind of like each other's photos, or you know, we might comment and say, you know, miss you, I found this picture of you, but it's nothing like, it's not a serious relationship. And then on my mom's side, I used to be close with my aunt, but then when she started having grandchildren, I kind of got pushed aside, and they kind of like became her pride and joy, which is understandable. But and then it just makes me feel like I'm black sheep over there too, because no one understands me, no one gets me. Everyone thinks like what I'm doing is crazy. That you know, like social work, like that's not even a career. And
So kind of like, help me a little bit help me to understand things a little bit better. When you say black sheep, as I need to clarify that for me, black sheep.
like I'm very different than my family. Like I'm very outspoken. I'm the only woman in my family that like doesn't do what they're supposed to do. Like I don't like, I'm not married and have kids. I don't stay at home and cook and clean. Like they have jobs, but their main job is cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, taking care of the kids. Like they're, and that's their role in their household. And I'm not doing that. I'm pursuing a career. I want to get my master's. You know, one day I would even think like maybe a PhD down the road, just to have it, just to prove to